So let's warm up a little bit, and then I want to talk a little bit before we actually start doing some drills, but I figure we're going to go over like dip drive and also like the split and the recovery for split jerks, because really, you know, it's very just like timing and technical for foot placement and timing of using your legs. Otherwise, you know, strength wise, you know, we're just going to use a PVC or an empty bar, so it should be pretty easy. All right, so let's start out getting a little warm. So let's start out with some calf raises. Let's warm up the lower leg for the dip drive. So if everyone wants to stand up. And let's do 20 calf raises. Up on your toes and back down. 20 times. Once you've done 20, let's rock back on your heels and pick your toes up off the ground 20 times. And once you've got 20 of those in, let's do 20 calf hops. I want to see your calf hops. All right, do you guys have a PVC?
No.
So you just have a bar.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, we're just gonna warm up our shoulders. So if you don't have a if you have a PVC, we'll do some dislocates. If you don't have a PVC, let's just do some arm circles. We're gonna go 10. So we'll do 10 dislocates or 10 arm circles. Nice job, Kai. There you go. All right, once you've got 10 in, let's do 10 presses overhead. After the 10th one, you can put the bar or the PVC on your back. And let's drive one elbow up, warm up that front rack. And then switch. If you can, keep a full grip on the bar. Switch. Switch. One more time on each side, switch. And the other side. And then if you can, let's get both up in front as high as you can and try to keep that full grip on the bar. All right, good. And then you're gonna get down onto your hands and your knees. You're gonna sit your butt back towards your heels. And then get down onto your forearms. And then you're gonna put one hand behind your head, and we're gonna rotate up to the ceiling, and then touch your elbow to the ground. 10 times, and then repeat on the other side. Once you've done 10, let's just stay down on the ground. You're gonna go down onto your belly. And then either just arms above your head or you can grab your PVC. 10 lift offs. So keep your toes on the ground, just lift up through your shoulders and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Straight arms. All right, good. I see sweatshirts coming off. People must be getting warm. Jill, do you have difficulty with like overhead mobility?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like overhead squats are tough, but I don't know if it's mobility or more core.
Yeah.
For me, but watch the arms didn't come up very high. So.
Yeah, no, everyone looked a little tight on that. So I was just curious where people were at shoulder mobility wise. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the dip. All right, and the dip is going to be the same for a push press as it is going to be for a jerk. All right, so we're going to talk about like foot position, and we're going to talk about like the torso position for the dip drive, because even if your split is perfect, if you dip in the wrong position, the bar path is going to go like too far in front of you. So the dip is actually really important, even though it seems like something people probably don't think much about. So what I'm going to kind of talk through it and show you guys first, and then we'll try a couple as well. So, all right, can you guys see my feet?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to be right around hip width apart. So it's going to be narrower than like your squat stance. So if you're here for a squat, you're going to be a lot more underneath your hips for your feet. Some people are going to go more toes forward, but it's totally fine to spin your toes out a little bit, all right? Because the main thing that's going to happen is we want a dip that goes straight down. So depending on your mobility, if your toes are forward, that might be a little tough. All right, so about hip width apart, toes spin out, and it's just going to be a break in the knees, and you want to think about pressing your knees outward, all right? So from the side, it's not going to look like this, because see how my butt shifts forward and my whole torso is forward? We need this straight down angle, so you really want to think about driving your knees outward. So they're going to come forward a little bit, but make sure you're also kind of driving them out to the side. And I really want you to think about like your shoulders, your hips, and the mid-foot to all be in a straight line. So we don't want to dip back like a squat. We don't want to shove our knees forward and be in this position. It's just straight down like that and then back up. And it's only going to be a small bend. We're not doing like a full squat. So it's just a little bit of a bend and then straighten up. So let's try that. So if everyone wants to, I'll kind of walk you through if everyone wants to find a space. Yeah, and I want to be able to see your feet and your knees. So we'll do a couple facing me, and then I'm going to have you turn to the side because I want to see your torso position too. All right, so let's go 10 dips facing me. And you can put your hands in the front rack position or keep them down by your side if you want. Rich and Jill, I can't see your feet.
Sorry, here's crap too. But.
And make sure you can feel the pressure in your heels and your big toes at the same time. So you don't want to be too heel heavy or too much on your toes.
Feet aren't coming off the ground, right?
Nope, no, just dip down and then come back up. So Jill, turn your toes out a little bit.
Which one, me?
I know, sorry, this is gonna be confusing.
You can just call me Freddie if you want.
All right. All right, so we're Jill Sharp, turn your toes out a little bit. There you go. And drive your knees outward. Yep, and don't go so low. Just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Freddie, yours looks good. So once you've shown me 10 from the front, I want to see a side view for 10. So you're going to do the same thing. I just want to see you from the side angle. That looks good, Alicia. Good, Freddie, knees out to the side a little bit more. Rich, you're bending your knees a little too far in front, so try to press them out a little bit. Better. Okay, so this time we're gonna do that with a little more speed, all right? So if you want, it's totally up to you. We can either do it with no bar, a PVC, or a bar, but we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add a little bit of speed to it. So instead of going really slow and deliberate, I want it to actually be a little bit a down up. So we're not really driving all the way up onto our toes yet. It's just a quick down and up. So if you have a bar, your bar is probably going to bump off your shoulders a tiny bit, but we're just going to practice that speed. So like Alicia, you had good speed, but everyone else was going really slow, which was fine. But this time let's add in that speed, because it is going to be different when you go a little bit faster, because you're going to want to go deeper, and I don't want you to go too deep. So Freddie, good depth, but try to go a little bit quicker on the way up. Change directions quick. Yeah, there you go. See how the bar popped off your shoulders that time? Yeah, that's what you want. So Jill, you're going a little too much of a squat, just a little less of a bend. Rich, a little quicker. There you go. Yep. Better. Nice. Good. All right, so that's gonna be the very first part of a jerk. And it's the same thing for a push press, push jerk, or split jerk. That's gonna be your starting position. So now we're gonna talk about foot position for the actual split, because we're gonna get into it just like deliberately placing our feet so we can feel it. But then, you know, the second part is actually landing in that position every time and being consistent. So everyone said they know which foot to put in front, correct? All right, good. So when we think about our foot position on a split jerk, you know, one common mistake is people go too narrow. So if you guys can picture like a balance beam or a line on the floor, you do not want either foot to be on that line, because that's just way too narrow. Because you think about the starting position we were just in, we were about hip width. So we do not want to get any more narrow than where we're starting. All right. So if you can, you know, if we were at the gym, I would draw the chalk on the floor for you guys, but since we're not, you guys have to imagine it. So if our feet are here and they're hip width, when we split, we want to go slightly wider than our starting position. So, you know, the opposite of that would be crossing midline and going on a balance beam. So we want to be here and we're going to go wider. So we're going forward and backward at the same time, but we're also going a little bit wider. All right. So when our front foot splits, we want our shin to be relatively vertical, all right? And it's gonna be, like I said, if this is midline, we're gonna be a little bit out, all right, with a little bit of a vertical shin. And then the back foot, we wanna be up on our toe. So we do not wanna see any heels on the floor or straight back legs. We wanna be on our toe with a slight bend in the back knee, All right, so it should be equal split. So if we go straight down on my torso, my front foot and my back foot are equally, you know, in front and behind me. So a common mistake would be like a really small step forward and a really big step back. And then that torso ends up leaning forward and the bar is gonna fly forward. So it's really important that it's that equal with that straight up and down torso, bend in the back knee, and equal weight distribution. So I'm not super back leg heavy or front leg heavy, nice and equal. All right, so from the front view, so if this is my starting position, I'm going out. So it's in this nice wide stable position. All right, so I want everyone to just practice getting into that position. So we're not going to actually jump to the split yet. I just want to see everyone's actual split position. So you can do kind of get into it facing me. I'll make some corrections and then we'll go to the side view too. So Rich, your front knee is collapsing into the middle. So try to get your knee over your ankle. Yep, and bend your back knee a little bit more. There you go. Jill, can you back up a little bit?
Back up.
All right, so Jill, looks like you're leaning forward a little bit. So don't jump into your split. I just want you to take a step into it and just place your feet deliberately in a good position. Yep, and just get your chest up so you're nice and vertical. There you go.
Looking back to see where my other foot is.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Good, and make sure that front foot's not directly in front. Make sure it's a little bit wider. All right, so Freddie, make sure your front knee is over your ankle and not coming in towards the middle. So to kind of drive your knee outward towards the wall. Yep, and square your hips up. You look like, yeah, there you go. Good. Alicia, I can't see your feet, just so you know. I can see from like your upper thigh. So everyone get into that split position. If I haven't seen you from the front, go to the front. If I've seen you from the front, go to the side. Good, Alicia. So Jill, you got to bend that back knee and shift your weight onto your back leg more. Better. So I don't want you to arch your back though, so keep your stomach nice and tight. Yeah, there you go. Yep. So that's what, it was hard to tell from the front view, but that's what I thought was happening, is that you've got way too much weight on your front leg and not enough on your back leg. So like I said, you want equal weight. So you don't want to be leaning backwards, but you have to have equal weight front leg and back leg with your weight right in the center. Freddie, move your back foot in a little bit closer. Yeah, there you go. And then bend that knee. Yep, that looks better. All right, Rich, you got to bend that back knee a lot more. Come up onto your toe. There, yeah, bend more. Yep, there you go. Now it looks like your weight's right in the middle. Good. So you can see, I mean, even you guys deliberately placing your feet there, like you see how tricky it is to be in the right position. And now we're going to do it, you know, with speed. So it's going to make it even trickier. So it's nice, like I said, if you like, when the weather gets nicer, if you can draw like lines on the sidewalk and just practice your footwork and see, you know, if you do 10 reps, how many times does your feet get in the right spot? You know, if you draw like a circle where you want your front foot and your back foot to be, and then where you want your starting to be, you know, how many times out of those 10 do you get your feet right on the mark? Because again, we want consistency and we want it to start being automatic. So that just, you know, alone is good just to practice the footwork. So now we're going to jump into the split position instead of just stepping there. So we're not going to worry about the arms. So if I usually just put my hands on my hips. We're going to get into that dip drive position. We're going to bend our knees into the dip. And then we're not going to drive and jump up yet because we don't have the bar. We're going to pause here. And then we're going to jump into the split. All right, so the goal of this is to not jump up. All right, so we're taking the drive out of it. We're just getting down. So pause here, and then squish the bug. So see how quickly my feet go out? I am not doing that, all right? So think about like if there was a spider right in front of you, you're not gonna go to squish it, you're gonna go and get it really quick before it runs away, all right? So pause here, jump into the split, and then once you're here and you're stable, if you want to check out, okay, where's my front leg, where's my back leg, that's fine, but don't look down when you first do it because that's going to throw your balance off. All right, so let's do 10. And really, like, depending on what surface you're on, you should actually really hear your feet hitting the ground. Let's put our hands on your hips. Good, just Freddie, make sure your hips are both really square facing forward. Yep, a little quicker feet, Freddie. Good, Alicia, look straight ahead. On the dip, your chest is down a little bit on the dip. Rich, watch that front knee. Don't let it collapse in towards the center. Make sure it's right over your ankle. Better with the knee, Rich. Don't bounce around in the bottom, just pause there and then go really quick out. Better. So Jill, make sure you're putting weight on that back foot, not just on the front leg when you land. Better. Good with the back knee, Rich. Nice.
Definitely hadn't been putting weight.
There you go. All right, that looks pretty good. All right. So now we're going to talk about adding the arms in a little bit. So we're going to grab your PVC or your bar. And then see if I can get my whole body in the frame. All right, so we're actually going to go from behind the neck. And we're going to do what we just did. We're going to pause here, land in the split, and then I want 3 presses overhead. On the third one, we're going to stop overhead. We're going to recover our front foot halfway, and then our back foot halfway, and then come back down to the back rack. So feet in that good starting position, pause, split, 1, 2, 3, hold there. Recover the front foot, and then step in with the back leg, and then back down. All right, so let's do 5 of those. And putting the bar behind your neck is gonna allow you keep that nice vertical torso. Wanna look straight ahead. Hey, Viv.
Say hi. Hi.
Rich, bend that back knee a little bit more. There you go. So make sure, Rich, we're recovering with your arms over your head. What?
You do?
Bend that back knee, Rich. Freddie, are your hands really wide?
Yeah, are they supposed to be?
No. Where do you press? Where do you clean?
Yeah, probably do.
I was like, I don't think you normally jerk that wide, do you? That looks like a snatch grip.
Yes, we'll be right there.
So Freddie, we're actually doing just the feet, and then once you're in the split, then you're gonna do 3 overhead presses and then step together. Jill, bend that back knee. Your back leg's a little too far back. So take a nice big jump out with the front foot, but not so far with the back. Nope. So try that again, Jill. That back foot's jumping too far back. Bend that knee. There you go. Yep. Good. So you got to work, Jill, you really got to work on that back leg not shooting so far back. So think smaller split. Bend that back knee. There you go. Yeah. Back knee. There you go. Good. All right. So now we're going to add in the drive and the whole upper body. So up until now, I haven't had you guys really push through your toes. So that second part of, you know, the dip is actually exploding, tightening up your quads, going up on your toes, and then going down into the split. So just to warm up for that, let's do 5 push presses where you do that same dip, and then we're gonna drive all the way up. So you really wanna think about the explode up and really using your legs. And don't worry so much about your arms. You should drive all the way through your legs. So let's do 5 push presses, really driving through your legs. Remember, think about that knee position on the dip. Really quick dip. Nice, Alicia. Nice, guys. All right, so now we're gonna do that same dip drive, and then this time as the bar goes up past our eyeballs, we're gonna split our feet. So bar in the front rack, slow motion is gonna be that dip with the knees pressing out. We're gonna straighten up, come up onto our toes. The bar is gonna start coming up here as the bar rises up past our face. We're pushing ourselves underneath the bar into that nice split position. We're pushing up nice and tall the whole time. Front foot, back foot. All right, so don't forget about the drive before you split. So dip. All right, so it's really fast feet, but you gotta make sure that we're dipping straight up and down so the bar goes right up. So let's start practicing putting that all together. Rich, try to get your elbows up in front a little bit more on that front rack. Bend that back knee on the jerk, Rich. There you go. Nice, Alicia. Better, Rich. Make sure on the dip that you're driving your knees out and not forward. Yeah, there you go, Rich. Best one. Just make sure you recover correctly. A little bit further out on the front foot, Rich. That one got a little small.
You doing the same thing still?
No, we're doing the whole split jerk this time. We all did 5 push presses first to work on the actual drive up since we haven't been doing that, and then now we're doing split jerks. Freddie, push press, you want to go up onto your toes on the drive.
I always wonder about that. I feel like half people do, half don't, and I like never know.
Nope, yeah, and that's why I had people do it just now, because you really want to go all the way, tighten your quads, go up onto your toes, drive the bar up with your legs. So Jill, that back leg again. Going too far back and it's too straight. Better. I don't know if you can feel it, but you're really arching your lower back. Like your body doesn't look like it's in a straight line from your hips up to your shoulders and your barbell overhead. Nice and tight. That was better. Freddie, bend that back knee. We want to have those feet do the same thing we were doing just with the feet, but now we're just adding in the arms. So bend that back knee when you land. Yeah, there you go. That was better. Back knee, Jill.
Jesus.
I know. It's hard to feel too because it's like all the way behind you.
Yeah, I think just by nature you lean forward. I don't know, at least like.
Yeah, well, so, and if you think about it, I mean, it starts from the dip. You know, like I said, if your knees are going too far forward in the dip, you're going to end up going forward too. So making sure that this is straight up and down. But what you look like when you catch is this leg is really far back and it's really straight. So then in order to get your chest to not be forward, you're really arching your back.
Okay.
And like, it's pretty impossible unless you're really, really flexible to not arch your back if your back leg's this far. So when you bring it in and you bend that knee, then your torso should be a lot more vertical.
Okay.
So just like anatomically, it's hard to get in the right position if your back leg is too far back. Yeah, so let's do a couple of rounds of that and then we'll all do the sit down and watch each other. I would say let's go through at least like 3 rounds of 5 and then we'll watch the 4th round for everybody. Remember, short and fast dip, finish the drive. Alicia, that was a little forward. You look like you had more weight on your front foot. Better. Make sure in the dip drive you feel the full foot and you're not too toesy. Yeah, there you go. Rich, get those elbows up in the front. Good, a little bit further out with the front foot if you can, Rich. Better with the back foot, Freddie. Yeah. So Freddie, think about your arms too. Like you want to be really pushing up to the ceiling. It looks like your elbows are just like a little soft and relaxed. Like I want to see it really, really tight because it's just an empty bar. So there should be no reason to bend the elbows. Get nice and tight. Punch. Better, Freddie. Jill, that's getting better. It's still too far back, but not as bad. Why don't you try backing up so you're closer to the wall behind you so that you try not to kick the wall. Okay, you need to back up further then.
Hit the wall, break a leg.
Well, no, not that close. Right there, yeah. That was a little better. Yeah, there you go, Jill. Oh, Freddie, back knee. There you go. Better, Jill. Better with the knee. Freddie, just make sure on that dip drive, don't look down. Keep your chest, look straight ahead. Pick a point right in front of you to look at. And make sure your torso stays vertical on the dip. Rich, get that front foot out a little bit further on the split. Big step with the front foot. There you go. Nice, Rich.
Give me a number. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. 5. How about 4? We'll go 4 today.
Elbows up. Good. A little quicker on the dip drive if you can, Rich. There you go. Yeah, that was the best footwork right there, Rich. Nice. Now those look a lot better. So Freddie, really think about that dip drive. You're probably thinking too much about the split right off the bat, But remember, you want to drive those knees out, not forward. Back leg, Freddie. Both of the Jills, bend your back leg.
I feel like my back leg is always.
Good, Alicia. See if you can get a little quicker feet. I know it's hard with no weight, but. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, Jill, yes. Yes. Woo.
I think I always just assumed you had to go further out because it was heavy, but.
No. Yeah, Freddie, just bring that back foot in a little bit. You're just going a little too long. Better. Yep. There you go, Freddie. Good. Just on that dip drive. Keep those elbows nice and tall and don't look down. Nice, Rich. Keep that weight on the full foot when you dip, so don't get too toesy. Full foot, heel, and big toe equally. There you go. Front foot out a little bit more, Rich. There you go. Nice. Good. Better dip, Freddie. Just bend that back leg. You're shooting it straight back. Just only a little bit back and bend that knee. There you go. Yep. Nice, Jill. Whoop.
I'm so used to catching it like too far and straight.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it, and then I just like get all off balance.
Yeah, it is. It's a tricky habit to break. All right, so let's all go one at a time next, so you guys can watch each other and kind of see each other, especially Jill and Jill, since you've been kind of working on the same thing.
Does everybody have gallery view?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, who would like to go first?
Stand there.
All right, so let's do 3 from the side, and then I'll have you turn and do 3 to the front, so everyone else can kind of watch and hear my cues and tilt it down a little bit more so I can see his feet. Yeah, there we go. Good split, just your knees came a little forward in the dip. So put a little more weight through your heels. Better. Just make sure you're taking your time. Don't lose your balance in the dip. Straight up and down. There you go. That was much quicker. Elbows up. That front foot didn't come out quite enough on that one. Remember, we want to finish with a vertical shin. There you go. Good, and let's face me and do like 1 or 2, just so I can see from another angle. Good, remember to get that front knee right over your ankle. So you were collapsing in a little bit on that front knee. Drive that knee out. So before you step together, Rich, just fix that knee for me. So once you hit the split, drive that knee out towards the wall. I think your right knee. Front knee. Yeah, there you go. Good fix. Yep. Good. Yeah, just like, Rich, think about like if you were squatting and your knees were collapsing in the middle. You're doing that, but it's just one leg because it's the split. So I couldn't tell that from the side view earlier, but that would be the only correction that I saw from the side to the front, is just make sure that knee is in line with your foot.
Okay.
Good. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
All righty. So let's do like 3 from the side and then 3 from the front view. All right, just take your time for a second in that dip. I can see your whole body leaning onto your toes before you even start the drive. So as you sit back into your dip, make sure your weight's a little more on your heels and your butt's going straight down. Better. There you go. Nice. You want to face me? That back leg's looking better. Good. Nice. There you go. So much better, Jill. Nice job. Night and day from those first couple of sets. That looks so much better. All right, Jill number 2.
All the Jills today.
Oh, now we've got a different view. You change your camera. All right.
That's like, I usually lift back here because it's kind of an awkward space, but.
Good correction with the knee. Try to land with it bent. Think about when you land with that back foot, really thinking about landing on that big toe, not letting your heel touch the floor. Yeah, there you go. Yep, much better. I know it's a little wobbly, but that's okay. The foot placement and the knee bending was a lot better. Yeah. Good. Turn to the side. Without hitting anything?
I know, she was like, oh.
Bend that back knee a little bit more. So on that dip and drive, just like what I told the other Jill, I don't want you leaning forward on your toes. Make sure you got your weight on your heels too. Drive those knees out to the side, not straight forward on the dip.
That was a better dip.
Yeah, that was a lot better. It's also going to keep your center of gravity a lot easier on the split if you dip straight down. Good correction. At least you're able to correct it now, which is good. That's half the battle. Remember, try to land with that bent knee up on that big toe in the back. Much better on the split. The dip wasn't as good, but the split was a lot better. Nice. Good. All right. You want to go, Alicia?
Sure. Oh, my knees, sitting there too long.
Yeah.
You gotta wear contrasting colors so we can actually see you.
I know, it's so dark. I can see like her ankle and that's it.
Sorry, guys.
Black on black in a dark basement.
I know, right?
Good. Just see if you, I know there's no weight on the bar, but see if you can get there a little quicker on the split. Drop under faster. Push yourself under the bar. Yeah, there you go.
Should I go forward too?
Yeah, if you have room. If you don't have room, don't worry about it.
I'm like, come on. Yep, just made it, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nice. Good.
Laura knows I don't always straighten my back leg. I can't even bend my back leg.
Yeah, it's a gymnast thing.
Gymnastic thing.
Yep.
So I need practice, repetition.
Yep. Good. So I think, a couple of things to think about, especially like right now, just even without a barbell technique wise, is thinking about everyone's dip drive. Because a lot of times it looked good, but then as you started to think about the end piece where your feet were landing, all of a sudden people's knees were coming forward, their weight was shifting forward. So one idea to even work on that is to go up against a wall. Like, don't worry about the bar, but literally like almost like a mini wall sit, and just practice with your back and your butt against the wall, dipping down while keeping contact on the wall. So, if this is my wall right here, getting your feet into the right position, getting your upper back and your butt against the wall or the upright, and working on dipping and keeping your butt here. So if you dip and there's all of a sudden a space here, that means your knees are coming too far forward. So even just practicing, like I said, up against a wall, just slide down to that little dip position and then back up, making sure your back stays touching it the whole time so you're vertical. That's one drill you can use to work on that dip drive aspect, which is so important, especially because like in a WOD, if you're doing like push presses and stuff, like if your knees are coming really far forward, that can end up leading to like, knee pain and tendonitis and stuff too, because you're just throwing your knees and just so quad dominant instead of going vertical and using your whole lower body to drive the bar up. So thinking about dip drive, that vertical torso and those knees out, and then really practicing that split position. So both the speed getting into it, but also just like placing your feet there in that split, working on just pressing overhead in that position, just like spend more time in the correct position, and then work on jumping your feet out into that position. Cause it's gonna, just take a lot of practice, especially if you've been doing it wrong up to this point, with like a straight back leg or uneven. But really making sure, especially if you can take a video of yourself or see yourself in a mirror, making sure that we're not doing, that straight back leg and that torso in this position, or really arching our back. Really want to have that, just like as if we were doing a step and lunge, if we're doing a lunge, we're, right in the middle, we're not lunging like this. So same kind of idea. Working on that nice even split and that body weight right in the middle. And then, like I said, too, if it gets nice out and you have chalk for your kids, draw a line to stand on in the center, and then draw the spot for your front foot and your back foot, and practice how many times out of 10 are you landing in the right spot, and see if you can improve on that consistency. Because the nice thing about a split jerk is you can do a lot more weight when you do it right, because it's really about driving through your legs and not about how strong your arms actually are. So
it's very true. My press sucks.
When you do it right, it's just like, the bar just flies up, and you got to work on like your core stability and your balance in that position. But you can end up doing a lot more weight in a split jerk than you can in like a push jerk or a push press, because of the speed and the timing getting under the bar. Does anybody have questions on split jerks?
I have a question about just like working on my dips. Would it be like help me if I did it with a band on my legs to keep my knees out? So I feel like it's
around
a common theme for me to like my knees come in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, dipping and squatting with a band around your knees is really good, both like a cue, but also it will help strengthen your glutes in the right position.
Yeah, I feel like even when like my feet would get to the right position, I end up landing with my toes in more than they should, because they just naturally are always land there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people just don't know how to activate their glutes enough, and they're just using their quads and their quads and their quads, whether it's bad habit or just because their glutes aren't strong enough. Yeah. So putting a band down there to give yourself that feedback, but then also, I mean, just doing like banded, like monster walks side to side with a band on your knees, or laying on your side and doing like clamshell with the band on your knees. Like those are just ways to strengthen your glutes, which will then, make them strong enough so that they can actually handle that too. So yeah, one of it's good for the cueing, and the second part is actually good to get them strong enough so that they actually can do that. Because there's people who say like glute amnesia, like your glutes are not firing, and it's not because you don't have a muscle there, but you just got to wake it up and get that brain connection so that you start using them, because it's a really powerful, strong muscle. So if you can get it strong and activated, it's amazing like how much more power you'll get on your lifts, because you're actually not just using one muscle group. So yeah, that's definitely a great way to do it. You just can't obviously do a split jerk with the band on your knees, but you can drive, you can do push squat. So now would be the time to do that, since you don't have to put the whole movement together. You can even just like, some people will warm up with it, you know, do some monster walks, do some push presses or some squats with it, and then take it off and then go to the full movement.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. Any other questions? No? Cool. Nice work. Everyone improved a lot on that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. I like this.
Awesome. Thanks. Cool. Well, thanks for joining.
Yeah. Last week I totally missed the memo. He said he told me, but I was doing something else. And then I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, there was 3 o'clock class. I'm like,
Ooh. That's all right. You made 2 out of the 3 so far. So that's pretty good.
I would come down.
I had the perfect storm of 2 children napping at the same time.
Whoa.
Very,
Awesome.
You're coming
very
down to
lucky.
do it, not just like, you know, hiding in your bedroom. That's probably what I'd be doing. All right,
I
well,
do that too. I do that a lot too.
All
All right, cool.
right. Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Be safe.